Thank you for supporting me. Mr. Valentino, would you please stand up? He's right. He was a great promoter and had a TV show for about 20, 25 years, and on different stations, of course. And I was part of his entertainment, and I would want to thank him for help in my promotions of my career, because at that time I was just barely starting out, and when he says, come on to the show and bring your group on there, so I used to be on there every week, and it was a live show. It wasn't pre-recorded. Everything was like now, It was no impromptu. So we did that show for about 6 months to a year, and he had a lot of famous people on there, Hollywood people, writers, so I want to thank you for that promotion, and I want to thank all of you for being here to help me with my career also. I've depended on a lot of different people. You don't do it by yourself. You have to have a lot of people helping you out, and a lot of great musicians. I've had some really super talent. Well, let me play a couple of things for you, and then I'll get back to talking, and then we'll have a little question and answer session. So if you would like to know this or that, we can talk about that, but not this.
You got it.
I'm gonna do one of my. This is one of my favorite tunes that I recorded with violins, and I've been all over the country. By the way, I lived in 11 different cities, and I played. Where I really learned how to play was in Greenland. Okay, I was stationed up there in the military, and I was working at the officers' club 7 days a week, 4 hours a night. Okay, so that's a lot of practice, right? So that's where I really learned how to play, and then I came back and started a band and played with different groups, and finally currently I have a 10-piece band. At one time I had 14 pieces, and it's been a great career. that rainy day, and recorded back in 1972. Most of you weren't born at that time yet. And I've been in this business many years, and have seen a lot of different people. I played all the different clubs in Albuquerque and played all the hotels. I was at the Hotel Albuquerque for 10 years with the band, and every weekend, and I was at the Hyatt downtown for 5 years, and so I've played all over the country, including the Vegas. I've had the real famous musicians playing with me. Right now I'm going to call one of my good friends to come and play. He's been with me on almost 50 years. Mr. Tony Quiñones. Where's he at? Tony is New York. No. He's a New Yorker, by the way, you know, Puerto Rican New Yorker. And he, when I at that time, you know, when I was playing, I started with a rock and roll band. His name was Ernie Ricardo, who became very famous, and we were playing up on the top of the Hilton is downtown. There's a building across the street. We were playing up on the 14th floor, and I was playing. He had a quartet, so I said, "Hey, can we play some of this romantic? How about some of these Spanish boleros, you know?" And he says, "Look," he says, "this is a rock and roll band, Frank. It's not a bolero or Latin or anything." And I said, "Well," I said, "you know, can I do one?" He said, "Yeah, we'll just do one. That's it. And don't forget it. And if you want to play that kind of stuff," he said, "why don't you start your own band?" That's exactly what I did. Okay. So Tony moved here from New York. Well, they chased you out of New York, didn't they? And
They did.
he and his...
I'm still wanted. So if you want money, call me. They'll come for me.
Anyway, Tony and I got to know the family real well, so we're like family, and I got to know his mother, his uncles, who else?
My kids, their kids, and their kids' kids. And what I have to say about Frank is I am extremely grateful to him.
Cocina mi chinga con cebolla colorada. 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 Yeah. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la, yeah. La 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 la. Cocina mi chinga con cebolla colorada. Cocina mi chinga con cebolla colorada. Cocina mi chinga con cebolla colorada. Cocíname chinga con cebolla colorada. Yeah. La 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 la, yeah. La 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 la, yeah. La 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 la, yeah. La 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 la. Cocina. Cocina mi chinga con cebolla colorada. 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 Ya me voy. Ya me voy. Ya me voy. Ya me voy. Mira, chiquito. Ya me voy. Yeah. Thank you, Tony. Gracias.
I am very well. I mean very well.
Boledito. Well, you never heard Perfidia played like that. You know, that's my interpretation of a Perfidia. And, of course, some people say, well, you know, Frank, you really play good by ear. You know, and I said, well, yeah, I guess I do, but, you know, I did take classical for 7 years.
May I interject?
Yes.
He doesn't play good by ear. He plays good by hands. Isn't it wonderful? Ear, we hear. He plays with his hands.
Tell your story, Frank. He's got a great story.
I know he's got a great story. I always cut him off.
He always
It's been my business.
That's my man right here. Okay. Anyway, thank you. So I wouldn't want to put anybody through that turmoil or that. You know, I was 6 years old, and my mother. I had started playing at the age of 4.
That was last week.
And my mom says, well, after 2 years, she said, well, you know, I think you need some lessons. So I said, well, okay, Mom, let's go with it. So little did she know, first of all, nobody in the family, except my dad played the tom-tom, okay, because he's Native American from Isleta, lived to be 103. And he's the only one that played music, and well, I have to talk a little bit about him because he was a great treasure for me. And Native Americans are, as I was explaining to a lady back here, a good-looking lady back there, that Native Americans are very culturally. They're not very outgoing. They stay to themselves and so forth. And I managed to get out of that situation by going to the military. And so I did a lot of travel and got to play a lot. And with that was a great inspiration for me. The military really opened up my entire life because from there, I went to a dental school, learned prosthetic dentistry, learn how to make prosthetic teeth like dentures and partials and so forth. And of course, then a couple of the doctors says, Frank, you know, you do this so well, why don't you become a dentist? And I said, well, that's, yeah, I never thought about it. And he said, you know, because half of the dentistry is dental lab stuff. And you do that so well, so why don't you go ahead and I'll get you into dental school. That's really what it takes. It takes a who you know, all right? Like everything else, it's a who you know. And I said, well, that's a great idea. So once I got out of the military, I went to the University of New Mexico and got into pre-dental for 2 years. And then I ran into chemistry. That was the end of my pre-dental. Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you the year, because then you'll know how young I am. I was born in 1935. How's that? Huh? So, I'm 51. And so, with that in mind, I went on to graduate from the military, from UNM, and I went on for a master's in counseling and guidance and became a counselor. And I went to work for the intelligence community in Washington, D.C. That's in part of my, a lot of people don't know that, but I worked for the CIA for 3 years. A lot of things you don't know. And the government's not going to tell you. And then after that, I taught school for 6 years here in California. After that, I came back and went to work for the city of Albuquerque in human resources. and I worked for them for 20 years. So that's a real who you know. Okay. Just a little blues. A lot of people say, well, you can't play blues, Frank. You don't know how. Sparky. This is Sparky. She's a great vocalist. And
a million years ago. A million years ago. And you got to remember, you keep talking about the 70s, right?
Yes.
Okay. How many here worked with him in the late 50s?
Nobody was here in the late 50s.
How many in
Except me. I
well,
was
it's
there.
funny. I was from California, but I was here, and he saved an entire 4 weeks. And he forgets it until we accident. How many were at the 2018 induction when he was brought into the New Mexico Music Hall of Fame? Well, he got up and he did his little stitch that he does all the time. And he ends it with, but you must remember, I started when I was 12 years old. He comes off stage. I had not seen him since 1962. How many here remember Verna's Roaring 20s? Okay, so I guess you...
3 of us.
It was us. It was us.
I was only 10.
Okay, so at the New Mexico thing, he tells her, but I started when I was 12. Well, my best friend, agent, was huge at RCA and all over the place. And Verna Frank Vernicelli. He opened this club. He went to Las Vegas, and he saw the lounge shows and the acts, and he thought they were so wonderful. He invested all his money here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you weren't really doing anything at that time. You're still doing your legitimate stuff,
Yeah.
which saved us. How many here remember Bernie May?
Oh, got it.
Okay.
May's music.
Well, he was more than that. He was bigger than the union. He was the contractor. He was everything. So he knew Art Rush, this famous, more than an agent, because he was A&R and other things at RCA. Well, my best friend was booked in along with Pete Cantino. All these big names were coming in. Nobody could believe they were coming to Albuquerque. And they hired most of the symphony. At that time, there was an Albuquerque Symphony. Okay, most people don't know that. I'm not from here, and I know all this history because I ended up here because my best friend was booked in to be the opening act. And I meant to have pictures for everybody here tonight, but my printer died. But this was the most fabulous place. Well, what happened though, my best friend's conductor, pianist, same kind of realm as our dear friend Frank here, and he got La Turista. It wasn't that he couldn't get on stage, we were afraid he couldn't get off stage in town. So Bernie May says, you know, there's this young guy, he hasn't really done much yet, but I think he'd be great to just play while the people are coming in before the show and before the warm-up acts. And so they hired this young guy. And he's sitting at the piano. And he kind of forgot, well, how old were you in 62?
Oh my
60,
God.
No, 60.
I wasn't born in that year.
Yeah. So anyway, so he comes off the stage in 2018 after doing his thing, talking about, well, I was only 12 years old. Well, I'm laughing because when he came off, I said, do you remember me? And he did. It was like, it was kind of emotional. I'm sorry. And not because of me, because of what he did for so many. He sat in and wouldn't take a dime. And Bernie kept telling me, so my husband, he wasn't my husband, no, he wasn't my husband yet.
But that's another story.
Oh, God, that's all through my memoirs. Everything's another story. So now Theodore Paxton, pianist, comes out and he goes, who the hell did Bernie get? Carmen Cavallero?
Wow.
He was playing in a style, whatever they wanted, he could do it.
Yeah.
He saved that show that night, and he came back the next night, and then I'm watching him before he's supposed to start playing, and Nels is talking over with him because we're working on doing an album at that time. So sings the heart of Cole Porter and at the same time sings the soul of Oscar Hammerstein. And he said, well, we got to keep this guy. So he motions me up. And 3 of the songs that I was doing on the album with him, they sat down in 2 seconds. He gave him chords and he played it flawlessly. He did not miss a thing. And I've been trying to keep him to remembering that. But the thing of it was, I was only 12. But everybody thought I blossomed at 11. And
I was 13.
Depending on what makeup I put on, I could pass. Nobody ever carded me. Who cared? But this was our hero, and because of that, he saved 2.5 weeks for Vern and Albuquerque.
You know, she mentioned something about the New Mexico Music Hall of Fame, and I'd like to introduce 2 gentlemen here, Mr. Mark Padilla and Mr. Avi Torres, who have been started and instituted the New Mexico Hall of Fame, and we have 2 Hall of Famers right here. Tony's a Hall of Famer, and so is Frank, that are playing up here tonight. Oh, and of course, Val. Yeah, man. Val de la O.
You know, he gives some credit back here to Abe, because half of us wouldn't even be here tonight, or the...
I did. I just did.
I shared the post.
I know. I saw, man. So it's really cool. Anyway, better play some more music, man. What do you
Okay.
think?
How
Unless-
about the farm?
Unless you want to talk about when you played for Val's show, I don't know. Is that it?
Well, but I did talk a little bit about how. Actually, I have to thank Val because he's the one kind of helped me in the career in the early days. He had that show for he had that show for 25 years, and that was when he began that show. I was.
Shorter, 36.
36.
Oh, I never did say who it was. Nelson Eddy and Company. He was doing a tour of the United States and fell in love with Albuquerque and came back 6 consecutive years.
Great. And
And
So-
we were married here.
oh, congratulations.
First time I've ever said that publicly.
But Val was very instrumental in helping me. And then I had a TV show myself back in 86 to 90, 91. It was called Poquito de Todo. It was a kind of like your show where you featured Hollywood people, artists, writers, musicians, etc. You know, so I hosted that show, and along with Fred Baca.
I have a bone to pick with you.
Fred Baca was.
What bone do you have to pick with? Come on up here.
Go ahead.
I have a bone to pick with you.
Go ahead. Tell them the real story.
My wife died 7 years ago. And, after somebody dies, you find about a lot of secrets about that person that passed, right? So one day I was talking to somebody, and my wife is a pianist, by the way. She went to UNM and studied music. But that's not what I want, the bone I want to pick you. I found out that in high school, she was in love with Frankie. And she never told me.
How come she never told me?
It's a good thing, or it would have been the Frankie Chewiew show instead of all the others. Frankie was on my show for many, many, many times. What he doesn't know is that many times I had nobody to put on the show, so I said, call Frankie. And Frankie always came and did the show. And we had a banged up piano at the studio, but I have to tune it every time Frankie showed up. But that, I'm still going to charge you for that. Anyway, I want to tell you this real cute little story, because on TV I had a lot of things that happened to me, but I don't know if you know or not that I went to medical school and became a doctor. You're talking about a dentist, I became a doctor myself. But anyway, I used to have a lot of patients, and there's a cute little story about a patient that came in to see me one day, and it was an old man. He would come to see me all the time, and he was missing one of his front teeth. And I used to tell Mr. Faustino, I said, why don't you get a tooth? And he says, I can't afford it. So he went on for a heck of a long time, and one day he comes in, and he had his tooth, and it looked very nice. And I said, Faustino, that tooth looks real nice on you, because he had a big smile. And he told me, did it cost you a lot of money? He said, no, I made it myself. I said, well, how did you do that? He says, well, the other day I was visiting a friend of mine, and I went to a junk pile, and I found me a piece of plastic, and I shaped the tooth out of that piece of plastic. And I got me some Gorilla Glue, and there I put my shoe on. And I said, does it work? Yeah. Can I chew? Yeah, you can chew everything. He says, oh, well, I'm happy for you, Faustino. Is there anything else about your tooth? There's only one thing problem with the tooth, he says. Well, what's the problem? He says, it glows in the dark. Anyway. And I'm going to sit down before I start glowing in the dark.
A couple more questions. Yeah.
I think you had a question there, Ray, or you had a comment. You, yeah, didn't you tell me that? You said, he tells me, he said, grabs me, he says, make sure I get to say my thing, man. And now he's like, what?
I have to do this, and it's a magical Frank moment. I was production and events coordinator at the National Hispanic Cultural Center from 2004 to 2008. I sat on the board of directors, so congratulations to we have 3 Hall of Famers in the room tonight. We really do, and they've been acknowledged, but Lifetime Achievement recipient, class of 2022, and Frank, I believe you were 2018?
2018, yeah,
2018.
November.
So very cool. We also have another board member, Jerome is here from the New Mexico Music Hall of Fame. Anyway, and at the National Hispanic Cultural Center, when I first got there, they had just opened the Roy E. Disney Center for Performing Arts, the Journal Theater. The foundation, which is one of the elements in the managerial, what's the word, manager? There you go, thank you, man. They donated a Steinway grand piano to the facility. What's a Steinway worth? I mean, 200,000. Okay, it lived in the wings. It was living in the wings. Our opening show included Arturo Sandoval. So he was the first one that actually played the piano. He performed there with the symphony. It was a big, massive opening. The piano, for the most part, sat dormant for a couple of months. I would dabble on it, but believe me, it was dabbling. And what a pleasure to play a piano like that in a theater with nobody in the audience but me. It was wonderful. But one day I got the idea that we would share with the entire staff the piano. We rolled it out into the center of the Journal Theater. The only audience was the staff. Do you remember this, Frank?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
We brought Frank
What a beautiful
Chewiew in
piano.
for a special lunchtime private concert on this incredible keyboard. Nobody else in the room performing but him. He played, and this is where that classical background he talked about showed, because he played, and he played, and he didn't stop. He kept going. I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it was, everybody was mesmerized. It was amazing. It was a magical Frank moment in this incredible setting. He stopped. You could have heard a pin drop. Everybody was mesmerized, including Frank. He lost himself in the moment. We were all in the moment. And this is an educated music audience. These are people that are hired there because of their background, you know? Frank, that's when I found out exactly, I've known you for years, but I found out exactly who you were musically. Frank Chewiew, Hall of Famer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You want to play or you want more questions?
Let me play a couple more and then
All right.
we'll...
And then we'll talk some more.
Or, yeah, I'll take another question. Let's hear it.
Who's got a story or a question? Well, Frank made me laugh the other day because I studied classical piano at UNM, and there was 3 piano professors there. One was named George Roberts, and anytime you played classical piano at UNM, you had to audition for these guys, and it was a bitch. Right? Am I right?
You're right.
And so Frank tells me the other day, yeah, man, I went in, I thought I'd take lessons from George Robert. I went and auditioned and tell the story about that.
I went
Frank,
to
he's
my
a real
audition. I
snooty
was
professor
taking
guy.
of course, I hadn't read in a long time. I played Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, all of them, okay? And I didn't get as far as you did, Chopin and so forth. But I went in to see Professor George Robert, and he said, you're going to take piano? And I said, yes, I'd like to take a course in piano. I said, to see I said, I've never taken a university course, but that's why I'm here. And I'm not a music major. I said, I'm in free dental. And he said, well, why don't you give me an audition? He said, here's the sheet of music. So I went through it, kind of hesitantly, but I played it. I didn't play it like George Robert would play it because that was his forte. He's a professor, and he can read it like that. He said, well, Frank, I don't know about your piano playing. He says so. But, I'm going to have to reject you. And I said, well, that's fine. I said, I may not be acceptable to you. I said, but, you can't play salsa, and you can't play blues, and you can't play jazz, so we're even. So that's how classical people are. And they think they're above the rest of us, but they're really not, My goodness.
I've been with Frank all these years, in and out, but still the emotional feeling that I feel for him is he's like a brother. So thank you, Frank.
Thank you. So how much time do we have?
Oh, you probably got 15 minutes, 10, 15. I don't know. You got all night if you want. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. No, it's great.
But we have any other questions here?
I'd like to share a story.
Well, come on up here and share a story with us. Good. All right.
This is Mr. Richard Hedon.
My name is Rick Hedon. I've known Frank for many, many years. He grew up with my family in San Jose. But the story I want to share with you guys is back in about the mid-'80s, me and my wife, we had been going to Vegas since about '77. And if you guys remember the Golden Gate Casino downtown by the Golden Nugget, they had, everybody would go for the 99-cent shrimp cocktail. They had that little deli. But right next to the deli, they had a big black piano. It was a grand piano, and I believe from what I remember, it was always shared by this black man that would play that piano. He would make it hum. And every time that me and my wife went to Vegas, we would go get our 99-cent cocktail. That's when the food was still cheap. Not that you could tell with this big. But anyway, we would always listen to this gentleman playing that piano. And this one particular trip, we went to Vegas. We went, and I told Gloria, let's go get our shrimp cocktail and let's go listen to the man play the piano. I mean, he'd make it hum. That particular day, nobody was there. So I said, I wonder why. And we inquired, and apparently the guy got sick and had to leave. So the next day we come back, and I told my wife, I says, apparently he's back, or they got somebody else. But that piano was humming. We got our shrimp cocktail, we came around the corner, we sat down, and somebody yells out, "You got it!" It was Franc Chewiew playing there. Way back when. Frank, that was incredible playing, and you're still doing it.
I'm still doing it. I want to thank everybody for being here, and thank you for this honor. Thank Mr. Chris Cordoba. He organized this.
Oh, but we still got time for a couple twos, man.
Okay, yeah, we'll be glad to do that. And want to thank Dennis Soto to be here. He's a great guitar player.
Hell of a musician.
He's a great musician. And his wife, Georgie. Thank you for being here tonight. And I want to thank everybody for sharing these moments with me. It makes me very emotional. You know?
Don't cry now, okay? I don't have the tissues like before.